things that you should look out for in a valid contract. What should a valid contract contain for the court to enforce it? What I mean is, what should a valid contract contain for the court to grant you your application on the grounds that you closed that deal or you signed that contract? For the court to enforce the rights and the responsibilities of the parties to that contract. What should that contract contain? That's what we're going to be discussing today. And I'm sure that the issue of the topic of contract is not new to most of us, of course. And people of different colors and continents and country enter into contracts every day. Sometimes people unconsciously enter into void contracts. Void contracts are contracts that are invalid and the court cannot execute or enforce those contracts. So there are people who unconsciously enter into those contracts and they do not know because they have not gotten the requisite knowledge. So we're going to be talking about these issues today. Before I continue, if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, kindly click the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up here so that it would encourage us to keep talking and continue. So where is everyone? Where is everyone? Once I start discussing my topic, everyone just keeps flying away. We now start having reduced engagement. Why is it so? Why is it so? Why is it so? Why think that the present lawsuit against Dr. Why is it so? Now, the lawsuit that alleges where is everybody before I continue? Okay, maybe I'll just speak briefly before I go. So we're going to be discussing, like I said, what we should look out for in a valid contract. And one of them, the very first thing is the title of that contract. The title. Is it a bilateral contract? Is it a tripartite contract? Is it a tenancy contract? Is it a land contract of sale? Is it a deed of assignment? The title of the transaction should be clearly stated in the contract. The title of the transaction should be clearly stated in the contract. Okay? Now, because without that, it will be difficult for the court to enforce that contract. If the title is not specifically stated, it will be difficult for the court to enforce that contract. Okay? Now, secondly, the parties to that contract must be clearly stated. Who are the parties? Are they artificial persons? Are they natural persons? Who are they? Now, if they are natural persons, their names and their designation as it is in their official documents must be clearly stated on the contract. How they are recognized. So you cannot be entering into a contract with a non-existent person. If the person that you're entering into contract with has on all his documents, maybe Mr. Frank Oko, and then on the contract document you are having Mr. Johnson Abu, of course, you know that you're not dealing with the same person. That contract is void. It's invalid because you are not dealing with an existing person. Now, if the contract is between Mr. Frank's company that is registered as a limited company, and instead of writing the name of the company as it is on its registration document, you either write its trademark name, which is wrong, or you write its AKA, which is wrong. You have invariably made that contract unenforceable. Okay, so if it's between artificial persons of maybe an NGO or of a company limited, private company limited by shares, or a public company, the name, the designation of the said company as it is on the registration document must be clearly stated for that contract to be enforceable. Now, for certain contracts, it is required that the date of commencement must be clearly stated on the contract. The date of commencement must be clearly stated on the contract. When does it start? For example, in tenancy agreements, duration is very important in tenancy agreements. So the date of commencement and the date of termination must be clearly specified. And some other contracts as well. Now, there's something we call consideration. Consideration is like the consideration is the money or the money's worth for entering into that contract. It's an ingredient of a valid contract. It must be clearly stated on the contractual document, the amount required or the money's worth. If it's not in cash, it might be in shares, it might be in service. It must be clearly stated in the contract, the consideration. And then the next thing is that the parties who are entering into that contract must clearly state in that contract that they have intentions. They have intentions for legal relations. They must clearly state it. SD Gamer, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. We are talking about, today's topic is what we should look out for in a valid contract. I'm sure you enter into contracts every day, whether oral contracts or written contracts. But what we're looking at today is written contracts, okay? I'm glad you're doing good. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up here, okay? Thank you. So we're looking at what everyone should look out for in a valid contract. What are the things? What are the things that you should look out for in a valid contract? What are they? Okay? SD8. I'm sure you enter into contracts from time to time, right? You close deals. Have you ever signed a contract before? SD8, have you ever signed a contract before? Oh, that's great. So, and I don't know if you followed this conversation from beginning, but I've listed exactly. Gray, thank you so much for joining us. Gray, have you signed a contract before? Have you signed a contract before, Gray? Gray, are you still there? Yes, and yes, yes, of course. For contracts, all the intentions of each of the parties must be clearly stated. Yes, that is the intention to create legal relations we are talking about. Both parties must clearly state in the contract what their intentions are and they consent to it. Yes. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much for contributing. Thank you. You're doing great already. Thank you. So, where are you joining us from? Oh, nice. All right, then. I hope your day went well. I'm a Nigerian. Yeah. Oh, nice. Kenya is also an African country. Yeah. I hope you had a nice time. And I guess the weather is warmer than what it is in Canada, right? It's really cold in Canada, yeah. But I think Kenya has a warmer weather. Yeah. Okay, so SDA, don't forget to give us a thumbs up here and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you so much. While I continue with the discussion. So we've talked about the parties, we've talked about the title of the contract, we've talked about the duration for certain contracts. We've talked about the consent, which is the intention to create. Oh, thank you so much. Which is the intention to create legal relations. And then we will now talk about the content, the terms and conditions of the contract. What are the terms and conditions? What are the duties of each of the parties? And then we'll also talk about what happens with respect to when there is a breach. We'll talk about another thing is in terms of the laws that should govern that contract. And then dispute resolution. These are the things that should be contained in the contract. Dispute resolution should be clearly stated. In case of dispute, how should it be resolved between the parties? Do you people want to resolve out of court? Do you people want to resolve in court? How do you want? Do you want to resolve by litigation? Do you want to resolve by negotiation? You know, how do you want your issues to be? If there are disclaimers, clearly state them in the contracts. If there are disclaimers, clearly state them. Notices, how should notices be sent? And what time frame will it be assumed that that notice has gotten to its destination? Exactly. Talking about defining expectations and liabilities. These things should be clearly defined in a contract. If that contract is documented, nothing should be left for assumption. If that contract is a written contract, nothing should be left for assumption. It should be clearly stated, spelt out. And then one very important thing is the execution of a contract. Now, there are different ways contracts can be executed. Because if the contract is dealing with natural persons, that's human beings like this, there is a way the contract will be executed according to the requirements of the law. That's why it's good to have a legal practitioner draft your contract. That's why it's good to have a legal practitioner draft your contracts for you. Okay. If it's with artificial persons like companies, if it's with business name, there's a way it will be executed that the court can enforce. If it's with NGOs or incorporated trustees, it is executed differently. If you are entering into the contract with don't bother. You didn't notice that I didn't want to give him the attention that he's looking for. SD8, don't bother yourself. These people, they don't need attention, so don't give it to them. They are looking for unnecessary attention. There's no need to give it to them. I know how many views I get, and even afterwards, people come back to watch my live stream. Okay, so I don't need to convince. No, nah, you don't need to convince somebody about who you are. It's not necessary now. You'll be giving the person unnecessary attention, which that person wants. It's not necessary. There's no need for that. Hello, Scarlett. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining this live stream. Hello. I sound like your mother. Oh, maybe we know ourselves. But that's true now. Somebody just enters your life and the person is rude. The person doesn't even know you. Are you sure the person is even in his right senses? There's no need now. Amstay. How are you? Scarlett, I'm as old as you are. Yeah. Maki! Wow, Maki. So good to have you here. Welcome. That's fine. That's fine. Your presence matters. Thank you so much. Okay, we are born in the 17th century. I was born in the 17th century too. Hi, Lucas. Thank you so much. I take it once in a while because it makes me break out, Maki. Lucas, thank you so much for joining. Where are you joining us from? What country are you joining us from? What country are you joining us from? Lucas. And I hope you had a nice day. Lucas, we are talking about contracts, valid contracts, and what everyone that is entering into a valid contract should look out for. What everyone entering into... I don't actually. What everyone entering into a valid contract should look out for. That's what we've mentioned, a lot of things, So we're now talking about the execution part of the contract, which is more like the closing part of the contract. And I was trying to say that contracts between... I don't. No, I don't. Oh, that's interesting. Thank God you have this feeling. Thank God I could make you feel this way. Terrifier, your name is even questionable. I'm glad I could make you feel this way. Yeah. So we're talking about the closing part, which is the execution part, which is very important in terms of in terms of enforcing the contract. Because if a contract is not properly executed, the court will not have jurisdiction to the court will not have jurisdiction in terms of enforceability. Okay, so it's nice for us to properly execute a contract. And if we're executing a contract, the method of execution between natural persons that understand the contract is different. The method of execution between natural persons that do not understand the contract should have what they call an illiterate jurat that should be done either before a notary public or a justice of peace. Then if it's between people that are blind, or one person is blind, one person is not, as far as there is a blind person there, it should have a blind person's jurat, which is actually signed before a notary public or justice of peace, depending. And if the contract is to be executed between either a natural person or artificial person, either a business name or a private limited company or a public limited company or an NGO, it should be properly executed as well. So the execution of a contract matters a lot. And that is why it is necessary to have a legal practitioner draft your contract. Now, if a contract, I don't understand it, but let me try and I don't think I understand it. Say what should you do if there is really good benefit but then a really bad thing in a contract? That's if the contract is beneficial but not properly executed. Is that what you're trying to say? SD Great, I'm not understanding you. Oh, okay, nice. Okay, so let me just take questions now. Because the issue of what is involved in a valid contract matters a lot. There are contracts that are in itself invalid because of the purpose. If the purpose of the contract is to carry out an illegality, maybe you people want to sign a contract now to go and rob bank, and then somebody now did not fulfill his part. Of course, no court will enforce that contract. You now go to court and say we plan to rob this bank, but this guy now breached. But this person now breached. Okay, that's just what I just said now. The best way to make a contract is to engage the services of a legal practitioner, of a lawyer like me, so that I would put the contract in proper perspective in case in future there are disagreements and you people will need to go to court to enforce your rights. The form or the way the contract was constructed would not be an impediment to the enforceability of your rights. Do you understand? So these are the issues. Yeah, these are the issues. So when a contract is made for the purpose of an illegality, it is void. No court will enforce that contract. You are entering into a contract to go and kidnap somebody, or to take another person's life. Of course, the contract is void from beginning. No court will enforce that type of contract. So these are like the basics. Now, the contracts are not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. There are contracts that are drafted for different purposes. For example, in terms of wills, people don't know that wills are contracts. They don't know. Of course, do you know that there are contracts that are that's one person, just like wills. I can't remember what that, I think it's called the, I think it's called what was that? It's just like a power of attorney that that is executed by just one person. Hey, I can't remember what it's called now in law, but there are contracts like that. Okay, there are power of attorneys, there are irrevocable power of attorneys, contract of sale, tripartite contract. So there are different types of contracts that are amenable according to the nature of the contractual transaction. So it will take an experienced legal practitioner to help you put your contract in perspective. Yes. SZ8, yes, I'm a lawyer. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yes, I'm a lawyer. Thank you so much. So it will take an experienced legal practitioner to put these things in the right perspective for you so that you will not have issues in future. Okay? So apart from the people who have come here to bully me, are there people who have questions? Do you have questions? Are there specific questions maybe I have not addressed that you may want to ask? Even after this live stream, if you have a question, after watching my live stream, you have a question, you can drop it in the comment section. I will respond to your questions, okay? Of course, I will respond to your questions. Oh, nice. I'm glad you learned something. I'm glad you learned something, and it's worth it. No, 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 no. SDH, you're doing great. Thank you so much, sir, for joining, and thank you for your feedback. No, it's okay. I just know that when you put yourself out there online, you should be able to, you should prepare your heart for what comes with it. Okay, so not everybody is sane. Not everybody is sane. Okay, so some people are dealing with one trauma or the other, so you should be able to accommodate everybody. Once you put yourself out there, you should be able to accommodate. So it's okay, it's fine. I have no I have no problems with it. Yeah. So I'm still here for the next 21 minutes. Ah, no, no, no. You should though, so that people will not easily get to you in terms of hurting you. If you don't condition your heart, you will keep having people hurt you from time to time. People will start determining how your mood should be, how your day should be. They will start frustrating you. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Just prepare your heart that, whatever I see today, I'll just take it as part of life, okay? That's just it. That's just it. That's just it, though. So are there people with other questions? Okay, I'll come around tomorrow, probably earlier. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you. Enjoy your meal and have a good night rest. Bye. Bless you too. So, are there people with other questions before we wrap up this live stream? Are there people with other questions? Ask your questions now. If you have any question, you can ask. Just ask your questions now before I end the live. What are your questions? What are your questions? What are your questions? What are your questions? I can take them from now. Can take them from now. Okay then, guys, I'll be going off now. Thank you so much for having me. Do have an amazing day ahead. God bless you all. Bye.